All right, so today we're gonna dive into something. Well, it might feel kind of heavy, but it's super important, especially for anyone who's dealt with leukemia. We're talking life insurance, and we're going to be using some great info from diversified insurance brokers to help us break it all down. This whole life insurance thing after leukemia.
It can definitely feel like a maze, and a lot of folks just don't even know where to start.
Exactly, and I think a lot of people just assume that getting life insurance after leukemia is like impossible.
Yeah, that's a myth. Definitely a myth. But it's not hard to see why people think that, right? I mean, leukemia is serious.
Totally. So let's clear that up right away. It is possible to get life insurance after leukemia. But I'm guessing it's not as straightforward as, say, getting insurance if you've never had a serious illness.
Right. It's definitely more nuanced, I guess. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Insurers look at a bunch of factors, and leukemia is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so for someone listening who's had leukemia, what are some of the big things that insurance companies are going to be looking at? I mean, beyond just the word leukemia.
Well, the first thing is like, what type of leukemia are we talking about? Acute leukemia, that's, the more aggressive kind, it's going to be viewed differently than, say, chronic leukemia, especially if it's stable and being managed well.
So right off the bat, we're seeing that it's not just about having had leukemia, but like the specifics of your diagnosis.
Exactly. And another big one is time. How long ago were you diagnosed? And probably even more importantly, how long have you been in remission? The longer the remission, the better, generally speaking, when it comes to life insurance.
Time really is key. It seems like it's not so much about have you had leukemia, but more about where you are now health-wise.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not just about the leukemia itself. Insurers are also looking at your overall health picture. Like, do you have any other health conditions? What's your lifestyle like? And even, what kind of treatment did you have for leukemia? Chemo, radiation, stem cell transplant, all that stuff gets factored in.
Wow, okay. It sounds like there's a lot to consider. No wonder people feel overwhelmed. So, knowing all this, where do you even begin to navigate the actual life insurance options? What's the first step?
Honestly, the first step is just acknowledging that you do have options. Don't assume you can't get coverage. It's about finding the right kind of policy for your situation. And there are a few different types to consider.
Okay, perfect. Let's break those down then. The source we're looking at today, it mentioned fully underwritten policies. What does that mean?
So fully underwritten is kind of like the bold standard for life insurance. Usually it comes with the best rates, but there's a catch. You got to go through a full medical exam, and they'll really dig into your health history, every detail.
So they get the full picture to assess your risk.
Exactly. They want to know everything.
That makes sense. But I can also see why someone who's already been through a lot with leukemia treatment, they might be a little hesitant to go through another medical exam. So what are their options if they're not keen on that?
Well, that's where simplified issue insurance comes in.
Yeah, the source mentioned that. What's the deal with that one?
Think of it as a faster, simpler version. Don't need a medical exam, but they'll still ask a lot of questions about your health history, especially, stuff related to the leukemia. What type did you have? When were you diagnosed? What treatments did you get? Things like that.
So it's like the detailed questions replace the need for a medical exam.
Pretty much. And based on your answers, they'll decide if they can offer you a policy, and if so, at what price.
Okay, that sounds a bit less intense than the full medical exam. Are there any downsides to this simplified issue option?
Well, the main one is the price. Because they're taking on a bit more risk by not doing the medical exam, the premiums, so what you pay for the insurance, are usually a bit higher than with a fully underwritten policy.
Got it. So it's a trade-off. Convenience for a slightly higher price.
Right.
Now, there's one more option that the source mentioned that I want to ask about. Guaranteed issue. That sounds almost too good to be true. Is it?
It kind of does, right? Basically, with guaranteed issue, you're automatically approved. They don't even look at your health history. Doesn't matter if you've had leukemia or anything else.
Whoa. That's amazing. So no medical exam, no health questions, just guaranteed coverage.
Yep. But of course, there are some catches.
Figures. There's got to be a catch. What are we looking at here?
Well, the two main ones are higher premiums and what's called a graded death benefit.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that. Higher premiums, I get. They're taking on more risk, so you pay more. But what's this graded death benefit thing?
So basically, it means that if you pass away within the first few years of the policy, they might not pay out the full death benefit to your beneficiaries. It might be a reduced amount, or they might even just refund the premiums you paid.
So it's like a waiting period before the full benefit kicks in?
Yeah, kind of. It's their way of protecting themselves from, people with pre-existing conditions who might pass away soon after getting the policy.
Makes sense. So guaranteed issue, it's an option, but it definitely comes with some important things to consider.
Definitely. It's not for everyone.
All right, so we've talked about the different types of policies. Now, for someone listening who's had leukemia and is thinking about getting life insurance, what can they do to improve their chances of getting approved? And maybe even getting a better rate?
Well, the biggest thing is to just focus on your health.
Yeah, I was going to say taking care of yourself is probably a good starting point.
Right. And I don't just mean managing the leukemia, it's about the whole picture. Eat healthy, exercise, all that good stuff. And super important, follow your doctor's advice, keep up with your appointments.
It shows you're being proactive about your health.
Exactly. If you can show the insurance company that you're taking care of yourself, that you're managing any health conditions you have, it can really make a difference.
Makes sense. Any other tips?
Yeah, I'd say work with a good insurance broker, someone who's experienced in dealing with, pre-existing conditions. Like the folks at Diversified Insurance Brokers, they're great. A broker can help you understand all the different options and find the best policy for your needs. And they can walk you through the whole process, which can be super helpful because it can be confusing, right?
Absolutely. Having an expert in your corner is never a bad idea. So I guess the big takeaway for today is, even if you've had leukemia, don't write off life insurance. You have options. It's about knowing what those options are and how to navigate the system.
Totally. And I think it's important to remember that life insurance isn't just about money. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that your loved ones are protected if something happens to you. And, for someone who's been through something like leukemia, having that peace of mind can be really valuable.
That's a great point. It's about more than just the numbers. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Hopefully you're feeling a little more informed about life insurance after leukemia. Remember, there are resources out there to help you, like Diversified Insurance Brokers. And don't be afraid to reach out to an expert. All right, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having